Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We
It's
have
time to
arrived.
demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. All right, let's see what we're dealing with today. Starting off with our report over here, our astrology for today. Today's the 21st of January. So it's 6:43 a.m. Pacific time. We made a change in our moon sign. We went from Libra to Virgo. To Libra. From Virgo to Libra. Virgo to Libra. Okay? So that change just happened. So Virgo is an earth sign. Libra is an air sign. So we have an air sign that's a moon. And our sun sign, which changed yesterday to Aquarius, is also an air sign. So we have double air for today, the rest of today, and you can see tomorrow it's going to be like that, and then it's going to change on the day afterwards. So the next 2 days we have air, both unconscious and conscious, because you have the sun and the moon, which represents the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, and we learn how to work the two together, the way the sun and the moon work together. So what we have here is the only thing we have going on today is this trine, which is a activity where there's a nice good harmony between these different signs, between the sun and the moon. At 9:41 a.m. is when this aspect takes place. And it's not like when you look at these aspects, like at this specific time here, something's going to happen. These are all subtle things that happen. We just are aware of when the movements and the changes occur. And so these are all part of books that are out there, have been researched and put out, filled with information, the ephemeris. And so anyway, so we have this coming up here. So between our sun and our moon, between Aquarius and between Libra, we're going to have a nice good balance, nice good activity. Aquarius being these new ideas, futuristic thoughts, this looking in to really bring forth that vision. So there's visionary ideas with the Aquarius, which is where the idea of the age of Aquarius and all the greatness that we believe was going to come from that period of time. So we have this nice good balance between that and karmic balance. Libra. Things become balanced, harmony. It's the tarot card of justice, which is all about balance, karmic balance. All right, so that's what we have going on today. Double air. So just think in your life, the reason that it's important, the reason why I tell you what the elements are, is because we look at this, we want to make this all practical to us. Just to look at these numbers and these signs and see them, and I tell you it's double air, it doesn't mean anything to you unless, of course, you make it practical. So air is just simply, we breathe air every day. If we know that the energy around us is energy that is working in that area where of things that are airy, if we know that the planets and the stars and all the energies around us are really generating that energy field, then we can work within that energy field properly, because we know that there's a lot of air around, there's a lot of communication, so we just work accordingly. And so that's the whole reason why I tell you what the energy is, so we can learn what is the energy field that has been created around us on a daily basis. And when I say us, I mean the whole planet, because we're all affected by the energy that's down here. So if we learn how to work with it, we do good. If we don't, well, we know what happens. We have challenges. We all go through those. All right, our moon phase right now is 75% of the way full, making its way down to the new moon. So we've got some time yet. And this side here, I wanted to pull this one up. This is over at Sky and Telescope. This gives us an opportunity to be a bit more acquainted with what is going on in the sky. This is this week's Sky at a Glance. And it started here on Friday, and here we are already at Tuesday. So let's look at this week. It said this week Jupiter's moon Io yesterday crossed Jupiter's face from 8:07 to 10:22 p.m. Eastern Time, with its tiny black shadow following 23 minutes behind. Later, Jupiter's great sun red spot transits the planet's central meridian. Alright, so that was yesterday. So today, the waning gibbous moon around 11 p.m. tonight, when Mars and Spica follow up below it in the next hour and a quarter. By dawn Wednesday morning, the three are posing in the southwest, with Spica and Mars to the moon's left and upper left as shown here. So we've got an image of what this is going to look like. So when you look up in the sky tonight, this is what you're going to see here. All right. And then tomorrow, the waning moon rises around midnight, very close to Spica, with Mars shining to the upper left. So we'll leave that till tomorrow. But I thought this would be something cool to look at on a daily basis, point this out, pay a little bit more attention to what's going on up there, and understand where everything is and what's happening. The Mayan Oracle, today's a 5-tone day, which are called the overtones. The overtones radiate outward. Their energy, they radiate in all directions. We're in the wave spell of the storm, which is all about gathering our energy. So these 13 days of this theme is all about how we gather our energy and then what we do with it when we strike out with that energy, how we put it out into the world. And today we're at the point here where we've assessed the energy, we've looked at the challenges of it, how we could work with that energy, bring it into manifestation, and now we're going to start to radiate that energy field out into the world. So again, it's all about energy fields. And air is words, actions, communications. So we're learning how to communicate with the energy fields around us by understanding the energy fields within us. And when we understand the synchronicity between the two of them, then all works out really well. Alright, so today is called the Blue Night. And what this represents that subconscious state, the state where we have the dreams. And in those dreams, we learn that we can create anything we want. And we learn to manifest that. So that's part of this. We learn now with that dream state that we've gathered all this energy. And now we have an opportunity to take that energy into the subconscious to really percolate. Let's see what we want to do with that energy. How do we want to put it out into the world? Because tomorrow we have a seed. We're going to plant that energy. So it's very important. When you look at energy, we can really do something with it. All right? Now let's jump over to space weather. See our solar wind. It's currently 328.9 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is between a 2 and a 3, so there is a little bit of activity going on around us. Little energy, the coronal hole still there up at the top, and our flare possibility is down 30% chance, so it's probably not going to get much of anything. X class is all the way down to 1%, and geomagnetic storm activity is down. Let's look a little bit more detailed over here at space weather. We got the same images. Alright, and last, let's look at our sun here, what it looks like at this point in time. The sun now, this is different viewers, so I'm going to take a look right here, see what's going on through this camera. This is called the LASCO 2. These are all different filters through which the sun is being looked at. Alright, so there you go. That's the energy that we're working with today. UFO news is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. So today I have a bunch of stories. A lot of stories. So the first one we're going to do here is an astronomer with two students witnessed UFOs at Syracuse University. Syracuse University's Holden Observatory. On the winter night, February 20th, 1947, 5 months before the famous Roswell UFO incident, two classmates of Syracuse University, along with an astronomer, reportedly witnessed strange elliptical or circular objects crossing across the horizon, covering the stars as they passed at tremendous speed. The two classmates were walking around 10:15 p.m. on the school campus and noticing that the dome doors of the Holden Observatory were not closed. Not only that the dorm doors were left open, but they also discovered that the entrance door of the small building was also open. As they passed, it was out of curiosity the two classmates wandered into the ground floor, and they noticed a 6 or 7 foot long refracting telescope that was suspended around 12 feet above the floor. It was used by a man who walked it back and forth rapidly in the length of the dome opening. When the astronomer noticed the two students as they climbed the platform, he was thanking God that they were there. He invited them to take a look of his find to tell others that he was not crazy. The man told the two students that he had been witnessing something not usual in the night sky. He then let the two take a look at what he'd been watching without giving them a clue. One of the two students grew up in New York City, so he only had a chance to appreciate the beauty of the stars in the night sky on campus, especially using a telescope. He was in awe of the bright star field and then noticed a light past his view in the dark sky. He then observed more after 20 or 30 seconds. He counted approximately 12 mysterious lights. After being puzzled of what he had seen, he then gave the telescope to his pal. After a few minutes, his pal looked as puzzled as him and the astronomer. The three men agreed that they had seen the same object. The three men were able to witness the details of these objects through the telescope. They all witnessed the same object that appeared to have a grayish bottom, slightly lighter than the dark sky background. The object had thin, bright yellow-orange trailing edge which appeared slightly rippling. All men noticed that some of the objects appeared to be brighter than others. The astronomer assured the students that they had never seen anything like the mysterious objects. After a couple of minutes, the students bid the astronomer good night. That was the first and only time they met him, but the students have talked about the incident a number of times for many years. Alright, so there you go, story number one to get us started. This next story here takes us back to the Apollo 13 mission and a jellyfish UFO that was seen. There's our object in question. This goes back to April between the dates the 11th through the 17th in 1970. That was the date of the Apollo 13 mission. SkyCap 1 or StreetCap 1 has done it again, finding this a jellyfish-like UFO near the moon during the Apollo 13 moon mission. The mission was a historical one overrun with mistakes and errors while learning. I'm sure aliens would have a great interest in hovering nearby and watching to see how humans problem solve in space. And there's our object right down there. Alright, so they've been watching us out in space for quite some time. Curious as to what we're doing. But again, they haven't attacked. That's the important part to know about. That they've been there, yet they're not attacking. Giant UFO cube visits our sun again in the NASA photos. We've seen this many a times. Okay, something interesting about that. Looks more than just a pixelated square that's been removed. The cube has appeared again in the NASA photos, and although it is far from the sun, it will soon be visible near the sun where it stays in orbit for a few days every month or so. The giant cube was discovered by Moin Hazen 74 of YouTube. So just click on him here, and it will take you to the same amazing videos and his discoveries. He also discovered a fleet of UFOs, which we will see in this video. They are all huddled together on one side of the sun, so obviously they are traveling to or from the sun together. Remember the Russian scientists that came forward to tell the world about the UFOs orbiting the sun bigger than Earth about 2 years ago? There are always UFOs there 24/7. Alright, so there's a link right there to click on, find some more info. We're going to continue on here though. It says UFOs filmed from train traveling from Scotland to London. I saw two strange flying objects when I was traveling on the train from Edinburgh to London King's Cross. The train left Edinburgh at 2 p.m. at 16:104, and I spotted the two objects at approximately 2:10 p.m. The objects seemed to be a tube shaped. At first I only saw one object, and the other one came into view. It was at some distance behind the first, but caught up to it very quickly. Okay, so the video itself is 1 minute 44 seconds long. Alright, you can see it much better certainly with all of these when you enlarge the screen, but you see it out there? You see the, it's right in this area there. Okay, let's move on from that one to the next one here. Here's a compilation of video sightings that have occurred just this year so far. This one's 4.5 minutes long. HDG. Alright, let's see what this is all about here. There's some good sightings. Alright, some of these I've played the other day. Some of them you haven't seen because I've been taking some time off. But definitely check out this link because it has a lot of good stuff on it to see what's going on out there. As you can see, they've been coming in from all around the world. Okay, so moving on from there to the next one here. This is a story about a scientist who's been awarded $500K to search for alien life. A group of Scottish scientists were recently awarded a £250,000 grant, which is $410,000, to build an infrared laser device to seek out new life and new civilizations and boldly explore where no man has gone before. It's going to be the world's most powerful light measuring spectrometer. Its goal will be to interpret signals from outer space using a comb laser device. The frickin' laser will be tested and then fitted at the world's largest and most powerful telescope, the soon-to-be built EELT, which stands for European Extremely Large Telescope. Yep, that's the real name. Similar to the Hubble telescope in that the purpose is to explore the far reaches of the universe by interpreting light data. The EELT will cost Europe a pretty penny, about £1 billion. It's going to be built on top of the Chilean mountain and will hopefully be operated within the next 10 years. So there you go. That's a good way to study, and we'll certainly be hearing about this as they continue on. Alright, MUFON has a video here. This is a short little piece here. I thought I'd play this. It's MUFON saying about their purpose. It says MUFON certainly has had a share of controversy over the years, but the bottom line is this is the only organization of any substance that actually investigates UFO sightings. This fact alone should compel people to support MUFON. After all, if we want to get to the bottom of the UFO phenomena, we'd like to know what the government and the world know about this subject. Alright, so let me play this for you.
in our waters. Something is happening worldwide. In our skies, in our waters, in our history, and in our lives. For millennia, people in all walks of life, on every continent since recorded history, from petroglyphs to videos, government documents to witnesses' spoken words, has clearly shown that we are experiencing the inexplicable. Each experiencer has questioned first their eyes, their perceptions, and then their sanity. Yet eventually, with sound science methodologies and a collective understanding, we can better understand and more correctly identify this history-spanning and worldwide phenomenon known as UFOs. The wondrous nature of our universe is yet to be fully understood and might never be fully grasped. Yet we must have the courage and the strength to intelligently explore, question, and to continue our journey of understanding. We must set aside dogma and the limits imposed by those less willing to address this phenomenon that touches tens of thousands of lives and places in our world. Hopefully, we will not have to wait for the outcome of a statement made by Max Planck, arguably the father of quantum mechanics, who stated, "New scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents eventually die and a new generation grows up that is familiar with it." Shortly before the historic moon landing of Apollo 11 in 1969, an organization was formed that came to be known as the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON. Since that time, MUFON, with the guidance of Alan Utke, Walter Andrus Jr., John Schuessler, has grown to be one of the largest and respected organizations of its kind in the world, whose mission is the scientific study of UFOs, or unidentified flying objects, for the benefit of all humanity. MUFON's goals are to investigate UFO sightings and collect that data in the MUFON database for use by researchers worldwide, to promote research on UFOs to discover the true nature of this phenomenon, with an eye towards scientific breakthroughs and improving the quality of life for everyone on our planet. Then, to educate the public on the UFO phenomenon and its potential impact on our world society. We must continue to take up our best sciences and seek the evidence, clear the illusions, and discover the truth and the real implications it brings to us. The serious study of this phenomenon only risks our ignorance. What we might find will be a better understanding of ourselves, our future as a species that is maybe not alone in uncounted living worlds, in time and space, and possibly other dimensions and universes. We must look, we must question, we must try and understand, or the future will find us only a history.
All right. It's very nice. Good meeting, or good message from MUFON. And another piece here. This one, this is a story here that is about Mars, because they're up there with the rover. They're searching Mars. And this one goes on to say about this mystery rock that has appeared. It's got them baffled. Says a comparison. After a decade of exploring the Martian surface, scientists overseeing a veteran rover Opportunity thought they'd seen it all. That was until a rock mysteriously appeared a few feet in front of the six-wheeled rover a few days ago. News of the errant rock was announced by NASA's Mars Exploration Rover lead scientist Steve Squires of Cornell University at a special NASA JPL laboratory. 10 years of rover meeting event in California Institute. It happened on Thursday night. The star-studded The Science star-studded public event was held in celebration of the decade since the twin rovers Spirit and Opportunity landed on the red planet. So very interesting. So now they're trying to find out, how did that rock get there? You know what I'm still waiting on? And I'm not holding my breath, but you know, the Chinese, they're up on the moon. I'm waiting for them to go by the moon landing site and take a picture or just show us the flag and the lander. Because once they do that, the argument is over, right? There can't be any more argument once they show us, but thus far they haven't. All right, one last piece here, UFO related. This one is called Bloodlines. Now this line, you may recall it, is in the Bible. It's in the book of Genesis. It says, "Let us make man in our image." And you probably been told when you've asked about that it was, didn't mean anything. It was just a typo, or, because God is multiple, some reasons. But if you look at it in relation to the UFO story, it makes a different bit of sense. Have you ever wondered who us and our refer to in our Genesis 1:26 when it says, "And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness"? Kendra Gilbert and I interviewed theologist, anthropologist, and extraterrestrial researcher Jordan Maxwell on In 5D Radio and talked about the subject. Maxwell stated the following: "What is being said, that is somebody, the gods, whoever that is, they see the indigenous creatures that we call hominid creatures that have been here for thousands of years, and they said, 'Come, let us,' whoever us is, 'let us make man in our image after our likeness.' Not make man, he's already here, but let us make him in our image after our likeness." So then they tampered with the DNA in the indigenous creatures that they call the hominids, and they create a new kind of creature. Now we begin to look like our creators. We look like the gods. They don't look like us. We look like them because they said, "Come, let us make man in our image, after our likeness." What's being said in the Bible may be very true, that we look like our creators. If that's the case, then who's to say that they're still not here? You just see them as humans, but they're not human. They could very well be the Anunnaki. That's what they look like. They look like us. They look like humans. No, actually, we look like them, and so they could be leading us right now, today, and we wouldn't even know it. We just look at them as our political leaders and our religious leaders, and never for a moment realizing, nope, they are not human. That's why they can do what they do. The basis for their power, they say they have a divine right of kings. Well, maybe they do have a divine right. They are the Anunnaki. They are the ones who created you. You look like them. So it's a good piece, good ideas, and here it gets into this story. And this is the story, remember the story of Enki? In the Sumerian tale, Enki disobeyed his father, Anu, and he loved the human creations. Enki and Anu have been at war ever since this betrayal. Anu was one of the creator gods who manipulated our DNA to make us slave workers who would mine for gold on this planet, for the Anunnaki. This is most likely the reason why the Roman Catholic Church is in possession of so much gold. According to one source, it is estimated that the RCC owns 60,350 metric tons of gold. If you look at the pyramid on the back of the US dollar, you will see an all-seeing eye. Is it possible that the entity or entities at the top of the pyramid are the Anunnaki and have kept us economic slaves for thousands of years? It's good questions. Getting into the bloodlines here. It says, ask yourself this: what do the following people have in common? King Henry I, II, III, Mary Stuart and the Stuart dynasty, including King James I of England, sponsor of the King James versions of the Bible, King George I, II, III, Edward II and III, Queen Victoria, Edward VII, George V and VI, Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Charles and Elizabeth's other offspring, Anne, Andrew, and Edward, Prince William and Harry, George Washington, John Adams, John Quincy Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and George Bush, George W. Bush Jr. and Jeb Bush. They all came from the same bloodlines. One must also ask them about the importance of why these specific bloodlines needed to stay within their own circle, as well as how they have kept humanity suppressed while they build their wealth. So, more to the article. I'm going to leave it for you to read. But it's that story we've been hearing for a long time about the Anunnaki, and are they still here? What is their agenda then? Are they part of the problem, and that there are other entities out there who want to assist in helping us because they were part of the process? It's all something that we're learning together. But it seems that, a lot of times I know we want the answers. We want to know what is the answer. But maybe we're not going to get that answer. Maybe we have to go through the situation and experience it rather than expect that someone is going to tell us exactly what's going to happen, because what's the point of that? If this is a huge play and we're all acting it out, then we have to act it out. We can't just put the script down and walk away and say, no, we're not going to participate. We could, and people do all the time. But all right, moving on. This section here is I want to get into and start this new section. Is called, let me show you my official little title here, Words of the Masters. Okay, this is a section I want to do. I'm looking to do here is every day have a little bit of something going on. Yesterday I did the dumpster diving. I want to keep that up, build that out as a little segment. And this one, Words of the Masters, in which bring up information about what the Masters had to say, the wisdom that's out there in the world, so that we can bring it back to memory in case we have forgotten. So this first one I want to start off with here has to do with Jesus and Buddha, two figures that we find to be very important in our history. We sometimes see them as different. We have Buddhism, you have Christianity or Catholicism, and there's all these different beliefs. Everyone feels that they're different, that they're not like the others. But perhaps there's a similarity to all of these, and that's kind of the important part of this. And what I hope to find and hope to be able to show through this over this period of time of doing these segments is that what we've been told from the Masters on this planet over and over and over again has shown us that there is a definite connection, that they're all connected because they're all guiding us along the same path, a path of our own self-understanding, which is why we just can't be given the answers so quickly. We need to come to that understanding ourselves, because it's different when we understand something on our own rather than when someone just tells us outright. We need to learn, and we're very much in the learning phase. So remembering what we've been told and the wisdom that has been shared to us with us is very important. So a number of recent books have proposed the idea that Buddha and Jesus are practically brothers. Close to the end of the living Buddha, living Christ, Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh asserted that when you are truly happy Christian, you're also a Buddhist, and vice versa. In the controversial book Jesus and Buddha, The Parallel Sayings, New Testament scholar Marcus J. Borg claimed that both religious founders espoused a world-subverting wisdom that undermined and challenged controversial ways of seeing and being in their time and in every time. Borg claimed that both were teachers of wisdom, not only regarding moral behavior, but about the center, the place from where moral perception and moral behavior flow. Both, according to Borg, were teachers of the way less traveled, the way or path. Imagery is centered to both bodies of teaching. And in the Catholic magazine devoted to apologetics called This Rock, author Carl E. Olson and Anthony Clark, citing Thich Nhat Hanh's assertion, noted that some Catholics agree. They cited as evidence that Jesuit Father Robert E. Kennedy holds Zen retreats at Morning Star Zendo in Jersey City. Further, The St. Francis Chapel at St. Clair University hosts a weekly practice of mindfulness and Zen meditation. Indeed, the number of Buddhist retreats and workshops being held at Catholic monasteries and parishes is growing. Olson and Clark went to point out serious differences between Buddhism and Christianity. The title of their article in The Rock was, "Are Jesus and Buddha Brothers? If so, there's a serious family feud." The article mentions Borg's Jesus and Buddha. Another book by Thich Nhat Hanh entitled "Going Home, Jesus and Buddha as Brothers," and Zen Spirit, Christian Spirit, the Place of Zen in Christian Life, all of which espouse the viewpoint that Buddhism and Christianity are compatible. Is it true that on a spiritual level Buddha and Jesus are quite similar? In this excerpt and the ones that follow, we will look at this question broadly, covering the areas of moral behavior, spirituality, and beliefs about the nature of reality, sin and evil, and God, as well as the degree to which the variations in the teachings of Buddha and Jesus could be acceptable. That is, compatible enough that a Buddhist could continue to maintain Buddhism while at the same time accepting Christianity, or vice versa. Were Buddha and Jesus almost identical in their ideas, spiritual brothers, or were they quite similar in other ways but different in others? In other words, can someone be both fully Buddhist and fully Christian, without sacrificing any of the tenets or beliefs of either religion? We will first explore this question by comparing conservative Christianity and conservative Buddhism, in a large part because these two systems are well known and reasonably well defined. Comparisons of liberal Christianity and other branches of Buddhism are covered in the frequently asked questions section, where answers are provided. So what we have here are a number of sayings between Jesus and Buddha. Here's one we know. Jesus often said, "Treat others the same way you want them to treat you. You should love your neighbor as yourself." Buddha said, "Consider others as yourself." Very similar, certainly similar idea. Buddha went on to say, or said, "If you do not tend to another, then who is there to tend to you? Whoever would tend to me, he should tend the sick." Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, to the extent that you did not do it to the least of these, you did not do it to me." Another Jesus, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for his friends." And then Buddha, "Just as a mother would protect her only child at the risk of her own life, even so cultivate a boundless heart towards all beings. Let your thoughts be boundless. Love pervade the whole world." Let's go down here. Let's see. "Lose self to gain Christ when entrance into heaven, or there will be no suffering." Buddha said, "Lose self to gain nirvana and escape from suffering." Here we have Jesus. "Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men, to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by men. I tell you the truth, that they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right is doing, so that giving you may be in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." And Buddha, what he said was, "The world gives according to their faith or according to their pleasures. If a man frets about the food and the drink given to others, he will find no rest either by day or night." Here's another Buddha. "Hatred does not ever cease in this world by hating, but by love. This is an eternal truth. Overcome anger by love. Overcome evil by good. Overcome the miser by giving. Overcome the liar by truth." Jesus said, "Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who mistreat you." So we can go through and we can find a lot more similarities between the two, because they're coming from the same source. We all come from the same divine source. So how could there not be similarities? And that's what we're going to find out. We'll find out that all of these spiritual teachers are all talking about the same concepts. Sure, they all have their perspective and the way that they talk about it, and it's certainly influenced by the environment they're in, the people that they're dealing with at that period of time, but they're all talking about the concept of what's going on, just like the world is today. We have lots of people out there talking about these concepts, keeping this wisdom alive, and bringing forth new messages, all these channeled messages that come down. I think we're living in a fascinating time, and in as much as there's so many problems going on in the world, I think it's important that we remember all of the wisdom that's out in the world, because perhaps if we were listening to this wisdom and following the wisdom that was given to us, perhaps we wouldn't be having all these problems. Maybe that's the first problem. So I think that if we get ourselves on track, we should be able to alleviate whatever's going on in the world by focusing on the good. Now, if we move from there, this piece here is about telepathy and clairvoyance. And it fits right in to the whole idea, because as we learn to get more into our spiritual selves, we start finding that the gifts and the talents that we all have spiritually are more fine-tuned, and we are able to access them a bit more. And two of them, telepathy and clairvoyance, are very important things that we can all do. We're just out of practice. Telepathy refers to mind-to-mind communication without the intervention of the senses. For example, knowing what somebody is about to say. Clairvoyance refers to the mind picking up information from the environment, knowing which card is about to be turned or what horse will win a race. They are both forms of ESP and extrasensory perception, a term which covers any communication between an organism and the environment that is essentially psychic in nature. For example, that cannot be accounted for by sensory contact, including subliminal clues or inference. ESP phenomena have been reported throughout history. Around the turn of the century, early physical researchers collected numerous accounts of psychic phenomena, including telepathy and clairvoyance. One common type of telepathy experience is a so-called crisis telepathy, which individuals suddenly become conscious that someone they are mentally close to has died, even though they are physically distant. Some early telepathy experiences were based around mental radio. Here one person attempts to guess what another person has drawn. Psychologists are skeptical as to their significance, as people such as husbands and wives who are close to each other often know well enough to predict the other person is going to draw, and also that they are free to draw anything. Most people select their images from a limited and largely predictable set, which includes a house, a tree, and a boat. So there's a lot more to this article, but I think you get the idea, and you should be aware of it, that we have gifts and abilities that are far beyond the five senses that we use. You've used telepathy when, sometimes you'll know what your friends are going to say when you're having communications. Maybe you're sitting in the room and the telephone's about to ring and your friend is about to call her who it is, and it rings and there they are. On and on and on. We have these moments all day, but a lot of times we dismiss them because we don't necessarily believe that they're real, or we just chalk them up to it's a coincidence. But like a muscle, if we continue to encourage these things when we have them, they certainly get much stronger, and we'll find that we have deeper ways to communicate with each other rather than just through words. All right, secret language of the human body. If we understand the concepts that our minds are capable of, we'll accelerate and amplify the process by which energy heals. For in this knowledge of a technique called energy medicine, we are fully capable of healing ourselves. When we listen to another person speak to us, we hear them through an understanding of it, an insight, an interpretation, or an energy, or an image. This is how we hear spirit, through interpretations of visions. Spirit talks to us through emotions and feelings, In energy work, we feel the image we see when reading the body's muscle memory. It's a form of transference. When we say things like, I can feel the pain, we actually can. Mentally, emotionally, and physically, we are in the time of feeling others' energies greater than we have ever before. Therefore, we are in a changing world that we can all participate in if we just realize the patterns we've carried over our lives and are ready to free up. No longer do we have to abide by anyone else's ideas, thoughts, or conform to their style of belief. As individual pillars, we are all fully capable to be independent beings creating our decisions through expansion. Realizing that at the age of 6, you and I made choices on how we would survive living day to day in our family life and how we would be accepted or loved if only we. Conditions based for approval of others, by others or even ourselves. Many physical conditions are brought on due to these old survival issues that are no longer necessary and for us to feel accepted or loved. We have it all within ourselves to be our own best friend, so what is happening today that is changing that? While our minds can't even think the same, the question why we are making choices and decisions that surprise our very being. Why? Because in truth, our universe is changing and so are we. The electromagnetic field has shifted in its essence due to a recent pole shift of the sun. Many astrological conditions have joined forces to encourage our trueness to stand tall once again. As we lose our old thinking, we are gaining new perceptions, insights, and are even becoming telepathic as time continues. If you will, we are raising our vibrations with the magnetic shift. We are taking our plunge and associating to the big picture without even realizing it may be happening. I see this as a real positive and inspiring lift for humanity as we venture into this new year with eyes wide open. Healing ourselves will come with truth, with unity, with personal integration and connections, and in a new way of thinking through feeling. No more ground rules based on judgment of right or wrong, for this too causes illness if one feels he's been wrong or has been made wrong choices. So again, it gets kind of into the same idea. There's a change taking place on this planet. We can either understand the change that is going on, or we could turn our back on the change. And if we turn our back on the change, then we're going to be like a lot of folks who are turning their back on the change that's taking place. We're just not really going to be aware of what's going on and not able to really utilize the energy to its best potential. But if we really focus in, we see that there's a lot of opportunity to make our lives better, to step away from all of the problems that are in the world. Not that the problems ceased existing, because there always seems to be some challenges and problems going on. We just find a way to move through it. It's like we're learning how to move through the darkness, as a light in the darkness. And the more light that we gather around ourselves, I think the better off we all are. All right, let's go over and listen to the message today. This is Hilarion. I always mispronounce that. I don't know why, but here we go. Hilarion.
Hilarion's Weekly Message by Marlene Swetleshoff.
January 19th to 26th, 2014.
Hilarion.
Beloved ones, as you move through the next cycle of days, remember to praise and reward yourselves often for staying on task and for walking this earth. Each of you has a very important part to play in the unfolding of the divine plan, and your presence is necessary. Each of you is loved and surrounded by more guides and angels than ever before. We speak to you and are delighted when you hear us and respond. This will be a more common occurrence as this year unfolds. You will be in clear communication with more of your higher aspects also, and this will be a definite boon for you, your loved ones, and the world around you. The guidance you receive comes to help you and those who are in your sphere of influence and activity with the next step forward as they become ready. Do not feel reticent to repeat what you receive from us if it is words of guidance and advice for those in your vicinity. The words you speak to them may be just what the recipients need to know to help them along their path of unfoldment, and what you tell them could be the very answer, guidance, or clue that they have been seeking. As you do this, let it be in a detached manner so that you do not become emotionally attached to the outcome and import of the message you share. Remember that you are simply the conduit, the messenger, and as you say the words, your part in that moment is accomplished. If the recipients of your words seem to not hear what you tell them, just be in trust that they are receiving what they need and leave it at that. The higher levels of consciousness want to communicate in a more direct and profound way to those in their care and guidance, and it will be through ones such as you that they will do it. Speak the words that come to you with love and kindness, and let the recipients decide how and if they give credence to what has come forth through you. This is a loving and important service to those around you, and one that will, for the most part, be gratefully received. All souls upon the earth are now seeking for answers to questions that they never knew they had until these now moments. Suddenly, a whole new perspective has come into their awareness, and there is much for them to sort through and internalize. Your assistance will be greatly appreciated even if you never hear the direct feedback from these ones. The words you speak to them will be the balm to soothe their troubled spirit. When we have called you our ambassadors in previous messages, this is what we meant. The world needs your love, kindness, goodwill, and patience now more than ever before, and you have all been in training to become adept at giving service in this manner. We could say that you can never be accused of sleeping on the job, because in truth, you are at work even during your sleep state. The multidimensional aspects of your being have always been at work, for there is no requirement for the need to rest as people on earth require it. Because of this, you can ask each day to receive assistance in your ascension process in whatever way is most desired and needed by you. Your higher aspects and God-sanctioned guides will immediately begin to bring the guidance and answers to you, but you must be open to receive the answers in whatever way they come to you and act on what you are given. This might require patience and perseverance on your part to become more observant of the time lag between your request and the appearance of the guidance you have sought, but if you are diligent, you will become increasingly aware of and grateful for the understanding that you truly never walk alone. We, your family of light, desire to help you to release all the blockages that keep you from moving to a higher level of consciousness, and we can work with you day and night to help you understand what you need to do to move forward. The energies that are flowing from the cosmos are unrelentingly shining greater and more intense light waves on all upon the planet, and when the light comes, it always expedites a release of well-established patterns of thought and behavior that are ready to be transmuted to a higher perception and the reclamation of your divinity. Most of you have been getting the understanding that you truly are of divine essence, each and every one of you. As you reclaim that state of being, you also assist to open the way for those who now awaken to their own soul journey and will seek to find the answers on the paths that you have trodden. This has ever been the case. Those who discover freedom from the wheel of birth and death and who liberate themselves, turn to lend a hand to their brothers and sisters so that all may be free. Until next week. I am Hylarion.
Alright, nice message. It's, from what I understand, it just seems that it's expressing that everyone, has an opportunity to participate in this process. We're all in this together, and when we all shine the light that we have within ourselves, that makes a difference in the world. Some people think that in order to be able to affect others, you have to have a big platform. And I don't think that's the case. I think we all have a platform in life that we affect X number of people. And that's, I think, all it's about. We don't have to have millions of people. We just need to affect others around us, whether it's a platform at work or with our friends or, when we go out in public somewhere. As long as we're communicating, we're sharing that information, we're sharing that light. And that seems to be the important part. And that's what I hear when I listen to these messages over and over and over again, that something big, something wonderful is going on. And we need to share this with each other because everyone's going to want to participate in this. Alright, here is these affirmations. I'm going to do these one every day, an affirmation. We did the angel before, the angel messages. These are the affirmations now. This one is, I am who I am. I can choose to be my own worst enemy, or I can choose to be my own best friend. Kind of ties into some of the things we were hearing. Just close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Alright, I want you to focus on the phrase, the affirmation. I am who I am. I can choose to be my own worst enemy, or I can choose to be my own best friend. Let that thought resonate in your mind. And understand how choice, every day we have an opportunity for choice. So imagine yourself standing at a path that forks, a fork in the road, and you have a choice. And you don't know what's down either path. The only way you can tell is by taking a moment to feel what that path has to offer. And after taking a moment and feeling and sensing what each path has to offer, you make a choice and you walk. And as you make a choice in life, and as you see that that choice is leading you down the path of goodness, you find yourself encouraged to make more choices, to trust your intuition. And as you continue to walk along the path, you see others also walking upon the path. Those who have made choices just like you. And you find yourself bonding together with these others and encouraging each other. And imagine now, from your heart chakra, sending love all around the planet. And with this love, the idea that all who are challenged with the difficult choices are able to find a solution, find a way to decide what is best, and to send love and compassion to help others to make those choices. And let's just imagine ourselves standing on top of a mountain, looking down over life and seeing all of the choices that we've made, that you've made to allow yourself to get to the top of that mountain in life. And as you go through the day, contemplate the choices you've made, the people you've met along your journey, the things you've learned, and the mistakes you've made. And contemplate all of those and then appreciate them, because they got you to where you are now. So let our subconscious mind continue on the journey of exploring the choices that we make. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. Thank you very much for being here today. It's good to be back. Just finding my way in a new direction here. It's kind of the same, but also with changes. I think you see what's going on. Any thoughts or ideas, send them across. firstcontactradio@yahoo.com is the email address. Check out the playlist every day for the shows, and that's it. I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.